On their wedding day, song moved over the Thracian hills. Orpheus held his lyre and sang the gentlest blessing he knew. For Eurydice, friends gathered around them, and even the wind seemed to stop and listen. Eurydice looked back at him through the meadow grass, her eyes bright with the wonder of their new marriage. Orpheus believed his music might do more than comfort the world. It might guard the happiness at last placed in his hands. But before the wedding light had faded, a snake flashed through the grass. Eurydice drew one sharp breath, and strength left her body. Orpheus ran to her, his lyre knocking broken notes against his chest. Her hand was still in his, but she had gone where song could not follow. Others wept for Eurydice, but Orpheus seemed hollowed out by grief. Beside the river, he sang her name again and again. He sang the wedding that had not yet cooled, and the hand that would never close round his again. The woods lowered their branches to hear him. Even stones seemed to grow heavy with sorrow. At last, he stopped singing only to the living. He held the lyre against his heart and took the road down, toward the dead. The farther he descended, the colder the darkness became. Before the lord of the underworld and his queen, he brought no sword and no offering. He sang one name, one marriage cut too short, one life not given time to unfold. His music opened in the dark, and even the punished souls paused to listen. For the first time, the underworld did not answer like iron. The queen listened to Orpheus, and for a moment, her eyes held not judgment, but memory, nor did the king refuse him at once. They allowed Eurydice to follow him back toward the living world, but gave him one command.
Until he had passed fully out of the realm below, Orpheus must not look back at her.
She would walk behind him. He would have to trust that she was there. So he began to climb. The path was narrow, the dark pressed against his shoulders, and the stone steps seemed endless. He could not hear her breathe. He did not dare ask whether she was still behind him. Far ahead, a small light waited, because it was close. Fear sharpened. What if this was the underworld's last cruelty? What if he reached the light with only silence behind him? Light of the exit had already touched his face. A few more steps, and Orpheus would have left the dark behind. But in that instant, the silence became more than he could bear. He did not doubt because he loved her too little. He doubted because he loved her so deeply that hope itself hurt. He turned. Eurydice was there, pale and quiet, only one step away. There was no blame in her eyes, only a farewell that had no time to finish. The condition of the underworld broke inside his glance, and the darkness drew her back at once. Orpheus reached for her, but touched only a shadow pulling away. Eurydice opened her mouth to him, but no word reached him before she was carried deeper in. This time, no snake took her from him. His own glance did. Orpheus stood at the threshold, with the light of the living behind him and the darkness closing before him again. He wanted to descend once more. He wanted to sing until all things stopped to listen. But the door would not open for him. From then on, his music could still draw trees nearer, slow the rivers, and teach stones the weight of grief, but it could never bring Eurydice back. This version follows Ovid's Metamorphoses, Book 10, where Orpheus enters the underworld, receives the condition not to look back, turns, and loses Eurydice again. Virgil's Georgics, Book 4, remains another classical version line, especially through the Aristaeus frame. This film does not merge those versions without notice, and it does not present later happy ending retellings as the ending of Ovid's line. This film follows one transmitted version and does not combine every variant into a single plot. Another classical line of this story appears in Virgil's Georgics, Book 4. Here, it is kept as a version boundary rather than being blended directly into the Ovid main line. Thank you for staying with this myth to the end. May the choices, losses, and long roads in these old stories leave a quiet echo after the screen fades.